Before I start the video, I want to tell you that I opened a new Discord server, so please join it in case anything bad happens to the channel. Also, we can chat in there. Link is in the description. Hello friends and welcome back to another video. Well, today I'm going to rank all the season 13 episodes like I said in a previous video. So I'm going to rank all of them and give each one a rating, and I'll also give my full opinion about each one. I'll give like 30 seconds to each one or something like this. So because I didn't do the episodes reviews for this season, so I'm going to talk more about each episode in here. So yeah, let's get started. At 16th place we have episode 9. This episode has the extremely infamous cartoon animation style, and I said cartoon because that has nothing to do with anime. I don't know why the creators call it anime, it's not at all. But this animation looks disgusting, the worst visuals I've ever seen in Ninjago. The characters looks awful and the effects are so bad. The animation of this episode really killed it, and I thought that they learned from their mistakes and learned that people don't want this, but I guess that I was wrong with this. Also, this is one of the most childish episodes in this show, especially the first half. It was as cringy as Dora the Explorer. The plot of this episode is decent, and at least we saw how Vangelis got the skull. Overall, the idea of this episode was good, but they did it in the worst way possible. 4 out of 10, and the only episode that I don't like in season 30. At 15th place we have episode 1. This is one of the week's premieres, but I still think it's a good episode. It's nice to see a glimpse of the ninja's life every once in a while, and I felt like they are acting normal, like normal people playing video games and cleaning the monastery. The humor was a bit off, but there wasn't a lot of it. Anyways, and Misako came back, which was cool, but that scene where she was yelling at Wu was completely out of character and childish. The Dire Bats fight shouldn't happen, it's very boring and a waste of time, and Wu's role was great in this episode. And I was really happy that they gave him this story in this season. Overall, a good episode, I enjoyed it, but the bad humor and the fight in the end kept it from being a great episode. 6.5 out of 10. My biggest problem with this one is that it was very childish at times, which really made me mad. I don't know why they are trying to make these first episodes very childish, but thankfully that didn't continue for so long. Kai and Zane were really good in here, at their best since March of the Oni. And the giggles are fine. I prefer the months a lot more. The months are amazing, but the giggles are just very childish in this episode, and I really hated that. The humor was bad, but we had a backstory which was really cool. The style was nice, the backstory itself was interesting. Overall, the super childish tone of this episode kept it from being higher, 6.5 out of 10. I really liked this episode. Nya was very good and she was in character. And to be honest, I like that small love triangle. It's way better than the season 31, and I feel like it makes sense. And it reminded us why Jay and Nya are together, and it was really good development for the ship, because it showed that these two love each other to the point that they'll fight against this creepy creature. I don't like Jay, or rather I don't care about it, but this episode gave it really great development and the jokes were really funny. The only bad thing here is the fight in the end. Easily the worst fight scene in all of Ninjago. If you just see my reaction to that scene the first time I watched it, you will laugh so hard. I was extremely disappointed, and it's unusual for DHX to make awful fight scenes, but overall a really good episode, but that stupid fight scene in the end kept it from being higher, 7.5 out of 10. I had really low hopes for this one, and I thought that it will be a parody episode and that the ninja will enter the dungeons to save Cole, and then it will be extremely repetitive and annoying. But this wasn't a parody episode, in fact. I really love this one. I always die of laughing when I see Mart. He's a better version of Dareth. I like the idea that the ninja got captured with Cole, and I was actually right with what I said before. The ninja entered the dungeons to save Cole, and then they are trapped there. And that was really annoying, and I'm sure that they could have done something more original. But overall, a really good episode. The lack of originality and the forgettable plot kept it from being higher, 7.5 out of 10. The big reveal, the Skull Sorcerer's identity, and his Vangelis. I think most of you prefer Cloud. Garmin is the perfect choice, or Pythor. That could have been awesome, but at the same time, it wouldn't make much sense as why they'll be disguised and hide their identity. Because if they want to be evil, it's because they want people to know them, not to not know them. But I still think Vangelis was a really good choice and the perfect choice except for all your villains, because it was really unexpected. Makes sense, and the scene was so well done. Vanilla Nia's reaction felt realistic, and it was an amazing reveal that ended the episode and made us like, whoa, what just happened? The beginning of the episode was cool. I'd never get bored of seeing Cole focus. He's my favorite character, and he's awesome. But overall, an amazing episode with an amazing plot twist, and the reaction was so cool. 8.5 out of 10. The conclusion to the Geckos and Monster story, and to be honest, it felt a little rushed and sudden. It's not bad, but felt a bit unrealistic. The five ninja were good, and Gulch and Martessa as well. Action was very good, not the best in this season, but decent. The Skull Sorcerer was good, but the focus of this episode was to conclude the Geckos and Monster story. And I'm not saying it failed to do that, because it definitely didn't, but it could have been better and less sudden. They could have built this from the beginning of the episode, but it's a small problem. Overall, a very good episode, 8.5 out of 10. Started slowly but ended amazingly. It had a really good cliffhanger in the end with Helmar and Vanya fighting and Helmar running towards Vanya. That scene was identical to the last shot of Lloyd vs. Harumi in season 12, with the only change being the characters' designs. I don't know if it was a mistake or if it was done on purpose, but that's a cool Easter egg. Also, the Upply are so good. I love each one of them, and their reaction when they reached the surface was really satisfying. You can feel that they were trapped in a dungeon for years, and now they are finally free. Cole was amazing as usual. You continue to see his amazing leadership, and season 13 is by far Cole's best. It showed us all the sides of his characters in a fluid and cool way, with revealing more stuff we never knew about him. Overall, fantastic episode, 9 out of 10. This is one of the earliest episodes, but it did its best to give this season an amazing start. Episode 1 was the premiere, but this episode started the story of the season. It introduced Vanya, Evangelist, the Skull Sorcerer, the Awakened Warriors, the dungeons, and Shintaro itself. And to be honest, nothing felt rushed at all. Everything got a great amount of focus, and if it didn't, it built up for another episode to continue on that. A very fast episode, which makes every second very exciting and important. The humor was so good. I really like that scene where Lloyd suddenly showed up at Cole's room, or in the end where Cole was talking about the Skull Sorcerer in front of the Skull Sorcerer. That was hilarious. Action was good. We didn't really see much action in here. This episode was focusing a lot more on characters and dialogues. Overall, a perfect start to the season. Nothing was rushed and everything was introduced really well. And overall, a fantastic episode, 9.5 out of 10. This episode had one of the best action scenes I've ever seen. The last 4 minutes of this episode was unbelievably amazing. Very fast and action packed with that phenomenal soundtrack. A lot was happening with the chaotic feeling and stuff. Truly magical and one of the best scenes of the season. The backstory was amazing. The black and white style was clever and it was really interesting. The only bad thing about it is how that Gecko and Murt were arguing about Lila's and Griefbringer's names. It was really annoying and took away from the serious feeling of this backstory, but it doesn't ruin it, and it's still an amazing scene. Cole was great as usual, and overall a fantastic episode, 9.5 out of 10. This is the best episode for the 5 ninja and the Monster Geckos. They were really interesting. Kai and Nya were mainly good in here, especially Kai. I think this is the best episode in the new format for him. Him trying to convince Zane to cheat was good, and he had really good reasons, and I loved the scene where Kai and Nya reunited. That was really sweet. Gulch and Martessa were good as well, but I feel like the ninja were the strong point of this episode. They had a good amount of focus. The Skull Sorcerer was, as usual, very menacing and ruthless, and overall a really great episode. If it wasn't for this one, the Monster Gecko story wouldn't be as good as it is. 9.5 out of 10. Not every episode should have dialogue or character development to be great, and this episode proved that. Basically, Cole, Wu, and Vanya were falling the whole time. They went through a lot of obstacles such as the spiders, the river, and other stuff. The concept was really interesting, and I think it was done in the best way possible. That scene where Cole was trying to block the water with the rock was really good, and the cliffhanger with the Upply left us both amazed and curious to know who are these. Overall, a really well done episode with a very unique idea, and proved that character development and dialogues isn't always necessary to make a great episode. 10 out of 10. I love how they divided the finale into two parts, and it proves that they learned from their mistakes they did in season 11 and season 12. Because the finale for those two seasons was unbelievably rushed. This is the first time Braggy writes a finale that isn't rushed at all. This episode, we see Cole and the Upply trying to rescue the ninja and defeat the Skull Sorcerer. Cole fighting the Skull Sorcerer alone was a smart decision. Also, I really like Nya and and how she was feeling guilty for failing the monster, and Kai seemed to not care as much, which is in character for both of them. And Lloyd was really good as well. He felt a lot like the amazing season 8 Lloyd. Cole is the highlight here, and he had one of the best Ninjago fights with the Skull Sorcerer, which continued to be even better the next episode. And also, this episode had a really big plot twist. The blades of deliverance are actually powerless, and they are very normal blades. I didn't expect that at all, and it was a really well done plot twist. Overall, such an amazing first part of the finale, 10 out of 10. First of all, I didn't expect them to continue on Wu's arc, and I thought that it's yet another cheap one episode arc that will never get mentioned again. But oh boy, was I wrong. It got the second best conclusion it could have had. I said second because permanent death would have been better, but what we already got was amazing. I love how they tied it with the famous ninja never quit line, and the dialogue was fantastic. This is easily Wu's best episode since Lessons for a Master. Cole continues to be amazing, and him struggling to unlock Spinjitzu Burst was great character development, especially in the finale. The upley were Cole and Vanya as well. Also, that scene where they saw the temple, it bring tears to my eyes of how nostalgic and well done it was. The nostalgic, the soundtrack, the visuals, everything. Overall, a legendary episode, an easy 10 out of 10. The finale, and what finale! I love how Colin Locke's Jutsu Burst was connected to his promise, and that scene was phenomenal. Also, this in episode 15 had the best fight scenes in the show. Tommy didn't lie when he said that these two last episodes have the best choreography ever. It's phenomenal how the camera moves and everything, truly magical. Nothing felt rushed or out of place, and I'm happy that they didn't forget about Lloyd's story with Vanya. And I love how he apologized, and Vanya's response to that was amazing, and a great reference to Harumi. Also, this season will be tied with season 14 because they will reveal to who was the Skull Sorcerer selling Venstone. On overall, a phenomenal episode, really blew me away. My only problem is that it felt a little similar to the season 5 and season 9 finales, but it's not really that big of a problem. It also continued with that plot twist in episode 15, which revealed that the Blades of Deliverance are powerless, which was really unexpected for me. If they killed Wu or something, that would have been phenomenal, but what we already got was amazing. And overall, one of the best finales, a lot of emotions, the best action in the series, nothing was rushed, and overall a perfect finale, 10 out of 10. Do you know that this episode had the highest rating out of all 160 Ninjago episodes? 9.8 out of 10, and to be honest, it deserves it. It's not just by far the best 11 minutes episode, but one of the best episodes of the show. What a phenomenal scene that started this episode, which is the flashback, and it's without any doubts one of the best Ninjago scenes. It deserves the whole video only for it, so I'll try to make that. After that sad scene and amazing start, we see Cole leading the lowly, but them doubting his leading abilities with his remembrance of his mother really made him so sad until he decided to stop, which was amazing focus. Then we had another fantastic scene with Cole controlling Earth and showing the path with that fantastic soundtrack, and then the episode ended with an amazing fight scene, which reminded us of how good of a leader Cole is. I'm going to rewatch this episode a lot, and it's easily one of the best in the show. Such a perfect episode, easy 10 out of 10. And that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to tell me in the comments what episodes are your favorites and which ones are your least favorites. And also don't forget to tell me your opinion of this video, and also if you have any suggestions for other videos, it's okay to tell me and I'll try to make a lot of them. And yeah, that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share to the friends, and I'll see you next time.